everyone, so I thought I'd film another video talking to you guys about how I rate my books, because I mentioned in my last video about, or one of my previous videos, sorry, about how I didn't give Once Upon a Broken Heart a 5-star rating because I keep my 5 stars reserved for more special things, I guess. So I thought I'd kind of talk to you about my ratings and my Goodreads and things like that, so please give me a follow on Goodreads if you haven't already. I do share all of my reading on there, all of the books I read, all the books I want to read. I'm quite active on there on the regular, so if you like to see that kind of thing, because I really enjoy seeing my friends' Goodreads, then yeah, give me a follow. I have got a lot of books that are older, so I think I started my Goodreads account in like 2022 or something, and I have got books that I added on there from like a couple of years before that or whatever, so those ratings probably don't apply to my current way of reviewing books. But currently, which is what I want to talk to you about, I rate books, I never rate books 1 star. I don't think I've ever done that, although I have got my Goodreads up next to me, so I might have to have a little look and just be sure. But I don't rate books 1 star because I know how much work goes into a book, and it doesn't matter how bad the story is, how bad the characters are, or if things don't feel thought out enough. I just don't think 1 star is a very nice thing to give when someone's probably spent 2 years plus of their life working on this piece of writing. So for that reason, I think if there's a book I really don't like, it will be a 2 star, just because I can still appreciate the effort, and I'm sure there's some things that are in it that I can probably pick out that I do like. Having said that, I don't know if I've got many 2 stars. I'd say 3 star is my average rating. 3 star meant, yep, it was good, did the job, it was a filler. So my 3 star books tend to be books that didn't necessarily grip me or didn't thrill me. I'll rattle off some examples to you in a sec. But yeah, 3 stars are normally my filler books, the books I've read and thought, yeah, that was alright, it was good enough for me to keep reading, and that's the main thing. Anything that I like is probably a 4 star. So a 4 star is oh, I like that, I really like that, that was good. So I'd give it the good category. 4 star books for me have to have good story, good characters. They probably still have things that are wrong with them, but it's a book that I really, really like and would recommend. I think that's normally how I go about it, really. Like a 3 star book, I'd recommend someone if they wanted something easy, something as a filler. But a 4 star is a book I'd recommend because I know it's good. And a 5 star is a book that just has taken me by surprise. Now, as a mood reader, as I've gone through my Goodreads, I've looked and gone, that's not a 5 star book, that's not a 5 star book. So I have gotten rid of some. But my most recent 5 star reads are books that I've read that have felt just special in a different way. Whether that's special because the story is just maybe unique, or it's really interesting, or the characters grip me. They're just books that have really resonated and hit home. And that's why I don't give out many 5 stars often. I kind of wish Goodreads you could do, like on Letterboxd, if you use that, if you're a film lover, you can do half stars. I don't think you can do that on Goodreads. And so some books I'd say I like definitely 4.5 stars, but just not quite the 5. And some books I'd say 3.5 stars where I liked it and it was good, but it had some things wrong. So let me give you some examples. Okay, so I just looked at my examples of books, and I have been a little bit harsh in the past. So I did there's 4 books I can see that I rated 1 star, but they were all books I read in 2022. So again, that's an older rating. But there were books like, back in 2022 I was in 6th form, and we were looking at all sorts of books, and there was like a lockdown in 2021, and I read some books in the lockdown where the school set up like a book club and stuff, and the books that were chosen for it was so bad, so I stopped doing it. But I've rated Revolutionary Road by Richard Yates, Right and Rock by Graham Greene, Down and Out in Paris and London by George Orwell, and We Were Liars by E. Lockhart, which might be a surprise. But the first 3 are more like traditional, slightly older texts, and I do like that those people as writers, like George Orwell I've looked at a lot throughout my studies, but Down and Out in Paris and London didn't do it for me. I think I gave up on it. It wasn't there for me. But I guess the one that applies most to now is We Were Liars. So back in the day, if everyone flicks their mind back to the time of Zoella and the time of W.H. Smith, and if you were a reader, probably maybe 2016, 2017, you would have known about the Zoella Book Club. And every month she chose books that were out as part of her book club, and her little sticker would go on the book in WH Smith's, and then you can go and buy it. And I remember living for Zoella Book Club, and a lot of my Goodreads, like read books, have got books from there that I put on there that I knew I've read in the past. And even though I hadn't read them recently when I made my account in 2022, I thought it would be nice to have them on there so I could keep track of it, because it's nice to look back. So We Were Liars is one of those books that I'm sure I read either as part of Zoella's book club, or it was just around at that time and it was popular. I just did not like it at all. I remember being so confused about it. I didn't know what was going on. It might have been because I was too young for it, but now I'm too old for it and I can't be bothered to care. I don't care anymore. So that's staying at a 1. Okay, as for 2-star books, I'm just scrolling through, and a couple of them are like naff little romances that I found on Kindle Unlimited, which were just cheap and cheerful. They were free, and some of them, I mean, one of them was a series called The Wolf Hotel. I mean, that was in 2024. God knows what Jess in 2024 was reading, but apparently it was a lot of shit smut. So as I was reading that, I mean, I think that was the second book, and I gave it 2 stars of that Wolf Hotel, and I read all 4 books. What was I doing? I think I must have been so bored. So they were rubbish. I did, however, this might be contradictory, the Windy City series, Mile High, I gave 2 stars. I just didn't like it at the time. It might have been my mood at the time, because again, I'm a mood reader, but I just found that book, I think I just found it quite long for what it needed to be, and I think it was miscommunication, which I just don't really like as a trope, and it had a lot of that in it from what I remember, and yeah, that wasn't for me. Another one that's popular that I rated 2 stars was also Consider Me from the Playing for Keeps series. I found that really, the writing wasn't bad, so that's why it got a 2, but for plot-wise, I mean, plot-wise, it was just so unrealistic. And I know romance is unrealistic, but the plot of this was just, I mean, the captain of the hockey team, or whoever he was, he doesn't have girlfriends, oh, and there's this quiet girl and he's fallen for her straight away. And I like a far-fetched trope. I like, you know, us quiet, shy girls giving their moment to shine, but this just wasn't it. He fell too hard and too fast, and I like that, but it was way too fast, if you know what I mean. I also gave Credence by Penelope Douglas 2 stars. Again, I actually think I enjoyed it as a book. I just found who she chose in the end really annoying. If you've read the book, you'll know the dynamics of it. I just didn't like the person she chose at the end. I wanted it to be the uncle, what can I say, the older family member. If you know, you know. Again, I gave Shatter Me, the second book in Shatter Me, 2 stars as well. I really like the first guy, and you're probably going to come for me because I've done like an ACOTAR thing with liking Tamlin and then not reading Miss and Fury because I don't want to know about Reese. That's the same thing, I know, because I hated Adam, and I know that he's the lead, the male lead in it, in the rest of the series, but I couldn't be bothered to figure it out, and that, again, probably a mood read from me. So moving past the 2-star reads, for 3 stars, I have given books like, oh, for instance, okay, so Sally Rooney. I love Sally Rooney as a writer, but her books are never over 3 stars for me. And I automatically buy her books and I find her really interesting. But would I say I enjoy them? Not particularly. I mean, I like them and I think they're really intriguing, and the literature part of me loves that. I mean, I love how she writes, I love what she writes, and even though she writes about general fictional things, she makes them really interesting, and that's why she gets us 3. But I wouldn't recommend her to someone who just wants like a holiday read, because she's not that kind of writer. Another book I gave 3 stars is Caught Up, which is the second Into the Darkness book, and I loved Lights Out. I mean, I really loved it. I think that was a 4-star read for me. It was really good, really fun. I love the vibe. But Caught Up, I mean, I just felt like it was really, how can I say it? I just felt like it was trying to be like Lights Out, but it just failed in every way. I enjoyed it and I read it, but there were parts of it that just felt really flat, like the smut wasn't there like it was before in Lights Out. The dynamics just weren't there. I just didn't love it as much. I mean, I have got the third book on my Kindle ready to go because I do really want to read it, because I do really like Nevessa Allen as a writer. So I will give it a go, and I'm not saying just because they're a 3-star author doesn't mean I'm not going to buy them anymore. A lot of 3-star authors are authors that I would automatically read from again. It's just that book didn't thrill me that time. Looking again, I have rated... Oh, okay. So 2 more I'll share with you are... One of them is a fantasy book that was chosen for book club when I started it back in September. It was the October's pick, I think, and it was called A Fate Inked in Blood. And it's I think it's a duology. It's by a lady called Danielle L. Jensen, and it's like a Norse fantasy, and it has such a cool premise, but I just found it quite lackluster. I mean, I just wasn't really interested in the character. I believe I felt like she changed her morals quite quick. It was hard to remember because I read it September last year, so it's a little while ago now. It's hard to remember everything exactly, but yeah, I just don't like characters who change their mind really quick. I think that it's just not natural. I think the characters need time to learn things and have that growth mindset, not necessarily just an instant change. And I felt like the protagonist in that definitely had an instant change. And I just couldn't be bothered to read the second one, if I'm honest. I mean, I know it was a duology, but I just got to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm not that fussed. And if I'm not that fussed, it's not getting anything higher than a 3-star from me. What can I say? The other one I wanted to say, which might also be a little bit offensive to some people, I'm sorry, is Twisted Love by Anna Huang. I just didn't love it. I think I signed up for like a more cutesy romance than what it was, and I just didn't expect it, especially I shouldn't judge by the cover, but I did judge by the UK cover. I'm sorry, I did. And I was like, you know what? I'm not here for it. It felt a bit unrealistic to me again. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't convinced to carry on with the series. So for that, it got a 3-star from me. Even though I know it's really popular and lots of other people love it, it's just not for me. So... oh, it's taking some scrolling because I have got a lot of 3 stars. Right, 4-star reads. So I'll start off by giving a little shout out to my friend Katie Escort, who is on TikTok and Instagram. Her lovely book, her debut romantasy, Inexplicable, is out now, and I rated that 4 stars. I mean, at first I was like, okay, we're very princessy, we're very like a princess living her life in the castle, her father's restrictive, we're going down that route. But boy, did it take a turn, and I adored it. There was so much character growth. I can't wait for the next book. So please check it out if you haven't already. But yeah, that was a 4-star read, and that was the book I picked for book club this month actually, and I'll find out everyone's opinions on it on Sunday. But from the people from book club I have spoken to already, they loved it, and many of them gave it 4 and 5-star reviews, so it's definitely a good one. I would recommend. So other books that I've given 4 stars are The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy, a classic. Again, Once Upon a Broken Heart series. Any Elsie Silver book for me will get a 4-star automatically. I love that woman. I will always buy her books. She's an automatic purchase from me. They're just, even though they're predictable, there's nothing wrong with predictability. I just love, they just make me feel so happy, and I just can't explain it. I just love her books. Even though I know the tropes, I know what I'm getting, it doesn't sway me from reading them. I love them. I'm obsessed with them, and I think they're really good filler books, but not a mediocre filler book. They're a great filler book. If you're reading heavy stuff, you know you're getting a lovely sweet romance with good plot, but it's going to have a sweet ending. And they have interconnected standalones, all of her series, and I love that about them because you get to reunite with characters. And again, if you watch my last video, you know I like a bit of fluff and I like seeing the happily ever after. So Elsie Silver is always on my list. A slightly different genre is The Housemaid. I read that. I don't normally read thrillers, but I loved it. That was really good. It didn't get a 5-star from me because I felt like it was quite predictable, and I felt like it was quite simple in terms of the writing. Phantasma. I loved Phantasma. That was great. And I guess another mention I'll make is Verity by Colleen Hoover. That was so good. I loved Verity so much. But again, got to the ending and was a bit like, oh, it feels a little bit rushed, or oh, that seems really silly. I didn't like how it wasn't necessarily a close ending. I don't know, it just wasn't perfect for me. So that's why it got a 4-star. So I guess now you kind of got my gist. Sarah J Maas, she's normally a 4 or 5 star author for me, depending on the book. So let's get into the 5 stars. Okay, 5 stars for me. Nightshade by Autumn Woods. I picked that for book club when we first started, and maybe that's why I loved it so much, but it holds such a special place in my heart. I absolutely adore it. It was such a great story. I didn't see things coming, and I can't wait for Daybreak to come out. It would just be so good. And For Whom the Bell Tolls as well, I gave 5 stars because... Oh, I hope you can't hear that. Hang on 1 second, let me shut my window. Sorry if you can hear buzzing, because my neighbours have decided to trim their garden. Really awful timing, I know. So, For Whom the Bell Tolls, it was what I was talking about, and I adored For Whom the Bell Tolls. It's a romantasy, but it's not like any other romantasy, as in, not because of the how it's set, like the magic, but the plot, because it's a romantasy that I felt like it's a mainstream one, but it is really centred around fluff, and it's like a found family aspect, and I know a lot of them have it. And even though there is a battle in this one, I will say, I don't want to give any spoilers away, it just doesn't feel as heavy as some other fantasy books, and it was just so sweet, and I absolutely loved it. It took me a while to get into, but I've not read anything like it before, and I haven't read anything like it since, and I can't wait. I think I saw on Goodreads that the lady's writing another one, so I can't wait for that. It was just such a sweet read. So I also read the other week, which I am obsessed with. I said the other week, it was in February. But I also read Alchemised by Sen-Lin Yu, and it was a book that I have known about for a long time because of how big it is. But I never read Manacled, the original fan fiction, even though as a kid I was a die-hard Harry Potter fan, to the extent that we would play Harry Potter on the playground at school. We loved it as kids. So Alchemised was a book that I was a bit dubious to read because I'd never read any Hermione fan fiction before. But at first I found it really hard going, but by the end I was obsessed. I adored it. It was just such a beautiful book, and the characters and their heartbreak and their trauma was just done and dealt with so carefully and so well, and I've not read anything like it, and it will forever hold a place in my heart. And every time I see a piece of fan art for Kane, it makes me want to cry my eyes out. It is so good. There's not many books I cry at. I'm not a big crier when it comes to media, but that book made me shed a little tear. It was that good. Okay, so another 5-star book I want to share with you, and it's probably... Okay, so if you follow me on Goodreads, you will know that I'm obsessed with Phantom of the Opera retellings, and just a little side note there, that if you're interested in that as well, then there's a lady called Jessica Mason who has a whole Phantom retelling where Phantom gets Christine, and I love those books. They were so good. But I gave them, some of them are 4, some of them are 5 stars, just because they scratched the itch at the time. But the mainstream 5-star book that I really wanted to talk to you about is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. Now, when people ask me what makes a book 5 stars, there's something about that book when I read it that literally changed my life. So I have read my fair share of traditionally gothic novels, and I'm not afraid of a vampire piece of fiction, although I haven't read Twilight because I was too young at the time. So before anyone comes for me, I haven't read Twilight. But Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil was a book that I did not expect to love as much as I did. And I read it because my sister, she had a Illumicrate copy or something, and I wanted to read it for a while, so I was like, oh, can I borrow yours? And she let me borrow it. And there's something about the characters and the way Vishwa wrote it and wrote the plot that I just was hooked by. The way that the narratives like blended in with one another, the characters and the timelines, it was so rich that I was just so obsessed with it. And honestly, when people ask me what I would say is a 5-star book, that and Alchemised, they're just up there. There's nothing like them. I'm obsessed with them. They're so good. And I'd recommend them to anyone. Although I know, looking at it, Bury Our Bones only has 3.9 as an average rating of stars on Goodreads, and that's not very high for a fantasy. And I know my sister wasn't that keen on it, but something about it struck a chord in me, and I loved it so much. I'm just looking through another book that I have on my list. I'll mention 2 really quickly for 5 stars. One book's called Wintering by Catherine May, and the other is Mythos by Stephen Fry. They're both non-fiction works, but they're really great, especially Wintering. Wintering is really great if you're someone who is new into non-fiction, if you're someone who wants... It's almost like a self-help book crossed with a nature book, crossed with memoir. It's a mix of all the genres, so I'd really recommend it if you're someone looking for a bit of peace in your life, because that book felt like the peace it was talking about, let me tell you. But mythos as well. If you like Greek myth or you want to get to know your Greek myth, the way that Stephen Fry writes it is perfect for beginners, and I would recommend Mythos every day of the week. He is so witty and comical and so simple to understand. It's just a 5-star read for me. It's just so good. It's a book I go back to because every chapter is about a different aspect of Greek myth, about a different character, and it's one that I would reread all the time. So I'd really recommend it for that. 2 more I want to mention, well, probably 3. Of course, ACOTAR, 5 stars in my books. I love it. But another one which I read recently that I gave 5-star, and it wasn't originally a 5-star rating for me. It started at a 3 when I began it. Is The Truth About the Harry Cuba Affair. Now, this is a book that I was lent by my boyfriend's dad, as it is one of his favourites. And at first I was like, oh, I'm not really sure. It's a murder mystery. It's got a bit of disappearance in it. It's not kind of my vibe. Thrillers aren't really my thing. But after about 100 pages, I was like, it just got really, really good and really, really gripping. And the characters in it were so well crafted, and the truth about the affair I did not see coming. So I'd really recommend it if you're someone who likes thrillers. It's a translated work as well, which is really nice. And the chapters, as a little side note, the chapters count down rather than count up, and that just scratched another itch in my brain. So I'd really recommend that. It was just a book unlike any other that I've read. It was a thriller, but also had a bit of morality in there, a bit of like self-help. It was just a bit of general fiction. It was just so lovely to read, and I'd really recommend it to anyone if you're into thrillers and you want to branch out into something a bit different rather than a predictable whodunit kind of murder. And the final books I will say that I have rated 5 stars and will always write 5 stars are books by Mitch Albom. And if you don't know Mitch Albom, what the hell? Who are you and what have you been doing? Mitch Albom has written 2 of my all-time favourite books. The 5 People You Meet in Heaven and Tuesdays with Morrie. Now, both are books that, again, came from my boyfriend's parents. And they're books that I did not expect to love as much as I did. If you don't know me by now, I love romance, fantasy and horror. But these books... I do love other genres as well, but they're my main 3. And these books are just a blend between self-help and fiction. The 5 People You Meet in Heaven is more fictional than Tuesdays with Morrie. And that follows an old man that's died. And it's, like, as it says what on the tin, it's 5 people he meets in heaven. And it kind of just makes you question as a reader, like, your own life and the impact you have on other people, but also that other people have on you. And I read it and it just made me feel like I needed to be a bit kinder and just a bit nicer, because you never know what people are going through. And it's just one of those, a bit like The Midnight Library, if you read that by Matt Haig. It's a similar vibe to that, but I preferred it so much more. And Tuesdays with Morrie, again, is similar. It's actually a bit biographical, with Mitch Albom talking about his old professor, Morrie. And it's about, literally, does what it says on the tin again. Every week, Morrie is sick in his later life, and every week Mitch goes to meet Morrie and talk to him about life, and Morrie gives him some of his life advice, and the advice that Morrie gives is just so lovely. And again, it really opened my eyes, and I think I cried when I read it. It was just such a beautiful book, and knowing that the words were real was just really special. And if you're in a hard place, I would really recommend reading that, because it just made me feel so positive and also appreciative, which I think is lovely too. So I hope you liked this video and learned a little bit more about me and my ratings, so that if you check me out on social media or on Goodreads, you kind of know where I stand on books. Like I said, 3 stars, they're good, but nothing special. 4 stars, really good, I'd recommend it quite quickly. 5 stars, a league of their own. Thank you so much for watching, and I'd really appreciate it if you liked this video, left a comment and subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you, bye.